Professor Krickstahl's voice crackled through the translator, filling the xenobiology lab at the Galactic Academy. Today, class, we examine the human's peculiar relationship with microbial life. All around me, 23 alien students from every corner of the galaxy leaned forward in their biopods, their various sensory organs fixed on the hologram in the center of the room. As the only human in the advanced xenobiology course, I just kept my head down and tapped notes on my datapad. Humans, Krickstahl continued, gesturing dramatically with their tentacles, are perhaps the most paranoid species regarding infection. They sterilize everything. They've created entire fields of science just to avoid contamination. They wage chemical warfare against microbes on every surface they touch. Zorith, a Velkrin student, raised 3 of her 6 arms. Professor, is it true that humans have specific rooms in their dwellings just for removing contamination from their bodies? Indeed, Krickstahl confirmed. They call them bathrooms. They expose themselves to scalding water and harsh chemicals daily, sometimes multiple times a day. I shifted in my seat. I'd learned early on that arguing with the professor was a one-way ticket to a 3-hour debate. Furthermore, Krickstahl's voice grew grave. Humans maintain something called clean rooms for medical procedures. They cover their faces with barriers, coat their appendages in synthetic skins, and refuse to touch each other without performing elaborate cleansing rituals first. The class was buzzing with fascinated horror. A crystalline student named Falksier flickered with shock. How do they even survive in nature? Surely such extreme sensitivity would be an evolutionary disadvantage? An excellent question. The theory is that their homeworld, Earth, is unusually hostile, teeming with dangerous microorganisms. Their immune systems are robust by necessity, but they remain psychologically traumatized by their evolutionary past. I finally raised my hand. Professor, I think there might be a misunderstanding about... Ah, Student Morrison. Krickstahl's eye stalks swiveled to me. Perhaps you can provide insight. Is it true humans have an instinctual fear of germs? Well, it's more complicated than... Suddenly, the lab door hissed open. Dr. Patricia Hayes, the human xenochemistry professor, rushed in. Her lab coat was torn, and a deep gash on her forearm dripped blood onto the floor. Krickstahl, sorry, but there's been an accident in Lab 7. Chemical spill. We need to evacuate this wing. She winced, looking at her arm. Damn, that's deeper than I thought. The alien students recoiled. Blood and open wounds meant one thing to them: infection. Even in the sterile academy, it was a massive risk. Professor Krickstahl's translator stammered, Dr. Hayes, you must get to medical. The contamination risk, the microbial exposure. I'll be fine, Patricia said, grabbing a first aid kit from the wall. She sat down, pulling out a bottle of clear liquid and some cotton. Zorith whispered, her voice synthesizer trembling. Is that a human death ritual? I stood up. She's going to clean it. Clean it? Now? Falksier pulsed with anxiety. The wound is open. She introduced surface contaminants directly into her bloodstream. Patricia overheard and gave a tired smile. She soaked a cotton pad with 91% isopropyl alcohol. Trust me, she said. This is going to hurt me a lot more than it'll hurt the bacteria. Then, as the entire class watched in absolute horror, she pressed the alcohol-soaked cotton directly into her bleeding wound. I heard at least 5 different species gasp as Patricia gritted her teeth, her face twisting in pain before she relaxed. There, she said, her voice strained but steady. That'll do until I can get proper stitches. The room was dead silent. Professor Krickstahl's translator struggled. You just deliberately introduced a toxic chemical into an open wound? Isopropyl alcohol, Patricia confirmed, wrapping her arm with gauze. Kills bacteria on contact. Stings like hell, but it's better than an infection. But the pain. Your physiological distress indicators are off the charts. Krickstahl's tentacles writhed in sympathy. Yeah, it hurts, Patricia shrugged. But I've got a class to teach. This'll keep it clean enough. She stood up. Anyway, about that evacuation, you've got about 15 minutes. Better get moving. And she walked out, leaving a room full of stunned aliens. I cleared my throat. So, Professor, about that whole humans fear infection thing. Krickstall's eye stalks slowly turned back to me. She weaponized a chemical against her own body to kill microorganisms while conscious and called it cleaning. Yep, Zorith's translator was barely a whisper. And humans do this regularly. I nodded, pulling up my sleeve to show a scar on my elbow. Fell off my bike when I was 8. Dad poured hydrogen peroxide right into the cut. I screamed, but I didn't get infected. I smiled. Mom said I was being dramatic. Peroxide, Thalxir's crystalline surface went dark. We use that to sterilize lab equipment. It breaks down organic matter. Yeah, I said. Fizzes real nice in a cut, too. Professor Krickstall slumped onto their hover platform. I need to revise my entire lecture series. Humans don't fear infection. They fear it so little, they'll casually commit chemical warfare against their own tissues. I packed up my datapad, grinning. Welcome to humanity, Professor. We're not scared of germs. We're just really, really good at killing them. The class evacuated, whispering in a dozen languages, all sharing the same thought. Humans were absolutely insane. And maybe that's exactly what makes us so successful. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more tales from across the galaxy. See you in the next one.